Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Joe Ricker with AgrAbility. We're here today, as the veteran community of interest, and I'm recording this for those people that cannot attend. But really just to collaborate amongst all the veteran organizations out there. It was interesting. Yesterday, I was on the beginning farmer rancher grant discussion with USDA. And one of the things that was always said was the beginning farmer ranchers is that they lack an organized collaboration opportunity. So, where all the beginning farmer rancher programs can talk to each other. So that's really the purpose of this is really open conversation. I have a couple topics today that I was going to, get comments on. But first, I was going to go around the room just real quick and see who we had on. I see a few new names on there. So, Joyce, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Joyce Barkapak. I work for UCP in Pennsylvania. It's United Cerebral Palsy. I am a outreach coordinator, and we work in collaboration with Penn State University.
Oh, interesting. That's fabulous. Thank you. Marcy Wellborn.
Yes, my name is Marcy Wellborn. I'm also with UCP Central PA, and we collaborate with Penn State University with AgrAbility PA.
Okay, awesome. Robert, I know you well by now, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Robert Elliott, for everybody.
Hey, Robert Elliott with the Veterans Farm in North Carolina. We help veterans learn how to get into ag.
Super, thank you. Holly Aker.
Holly Aker from the Veterans Business Outreach Center of New England. Both our executive director, Jenny Murphy, is also on the line talking about veterans and entrepreneurship.
Super, thank you. Jenny, are you able to talk or have anything to add?
I sure am. So Jenny Murphy, Executive Director, like Holly said, thank you so much for having us on today, and really excited to have Holly's presentation on all the work that we are doing, both New England and across the U.S. to connect veteran entrepreneurial resources to subject matter experts. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Amy Leifernick.
Hi, yeah, I'm with Easter Seals Wisconsin Farm Program in partnership with UW Extension, Wisconsin AgrAbility. I'm a rural rehab specialist on the farm program.
Super. Justin, I think you've moved a few jobs, if it's the Justin I think it is.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. No, it's still me, Joe. It's Justin Miller. I'm with UGA and work with the Georgia AgrAbility and Farm and Ranch Stress.
Super, thank you. And Georgia AgrAbility is where we're going to have our conference in March, and I'll have more information on that if you haven't seen the cards from the AgrAbility Facebook site. But looking forward to that, and looking for any input on how we shape Georgia in March for veterans. We had Holly speak at a few of our events, which were fabulous, and just looking for what's that value point for veterans to not only attend those, but really get that. So if anybody has comments on that, please either email me or put it in the chat. Deshauna York.
Hi, Joe. Deshauna. I'm with Cooperative Extension in Alaska. So University of Alaska Fairbanks. I'm located in Anchorage and work with the AgrAbility program here up north.
Super. Yes, a little further north than Indiana. Robin Tudor Markham.
Yes, thank you. I'm with the North Carolina Agri-Medicine Institute, a partnership of East Carolina, NC State, and North Carolina A&T. And we do health and safety for farmers, fishermen, foresters, their workers, and their families. I've been involved with the North Carolina AgrAbility Partnership since 2011 and work real closely with Robert and the Veterans Farm of North Carolina. We're also home to the Farm and Ranch Stress Assistant Network of North Carolina.
Hey, super. Thank you. One thing I was going to tell everybody is that I think I said at the last Veteran COI that I put one of the nonprofits I work in into the DoD skill bridge system. And I'm probably up to a dozen calls now. And ironically, Tashana and I had a long discussion over 3 of them wanting to go to Alaska. So I think if you look at DoD skill bridge as an opportunity, it really is a little bit of a fishing expedition to see who bites and who doesn't. But you know, those are when people look at skill bridge, they're usually looking a year out. So hopefully something grows from that. And I will, you know, as I look for organizations to place them, you know, definitely be reaching out. We do have an AgrAbility, a writing group. And one of the things that comes up in the writing group is what products or information we can share. So I welcome anybody who has products that are specific to veterans, you know, to send it out to everybody and I can collect them up. What the writing group is trying to do is, you know, try to gather those things. I know that Maine had an awesome checklist for beginning farmers. You know, do you really want to be a farmer type checklist, and other products. So I believe that one of our members is working on maybe a portal that we can put all the documents into, if not within AgrAbility. But more to follow on that. But if you have any products for veterans, please send them my way. Likewise, at AgrAbility, our Latino outreach person, Kimber Nicolete Martinez, has asked if anybody has anything for veterans that are Spanish speaking. She's come across some of them in her work that understand Spanish written better than English, or English. So if you have any Spanish material as well, please include that. She's looking for material to be able to share with veterans that are from Latino background. So with that said, why don't we go to Holly? Why don't you go ahead and take it over? And then after that, we'll just go around the room and see if we have any questions.
Happy to. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So first, Jenny's on the call with me as well. She's our executive director, as we mentioned, and we're really just honored to be here with you today. The Veterans Business Outreach Center is a part of the U.S. Small Business Administration. We're excited to kind of share a little bit more about who the VBOC is as a whole and how we're working to support veterans interested in agriculture or who have ag-related businesses, and some of the programs that we're working on right now. So the Veterans Business Outreach Center, or VBOC as we call it, is powered by the Small Business Administration to support veterans, service members, military spouses, our National Guard and reservists, and those who are interested in starting or growing a small business. I'm hoping at some point you've come across the word VBOC before when working with people who are interested in having or need support for their business. And this is a reminder of this great resource that works as a part of the Small Business Administration. We were just on a call earlier today with a lender who has been working to develop a program that's specific for veterans, because veterans make incredible entrepreneurs. And we celebrate that at the VBOC. We know that they bring a special skill set to small business ownership. They're mission driven and resilient, incredibly persistent. We've seen that time and time again. They offer high level problem solving skills and team management, and are no stranger to difficult situations. And we know that that is a part of farm related businesses. So we're so incredibly honored to be able to support them. We've seen a really high desire to continue to serve, and farms are the perfect place as we shift the mission to food security, and we look at our community. We're so grateful to have veterans that are stepping up to want to be a part of that mission. So incredible business owners. Our Veteran Business Outreach Center is a part of a larger organization. So there are 28 VBOCs across the country, including Hawaii and Alaska. Our VBOC just opened its doors in Alaska this past year. Again, designed to provide some of these entrepreneurial development services, training, counseling, resource partner referral. Our goal is to really meet our clients where they're at in their business journey and to act as a connector to finding the resources they need to be successful and see what resources are out there that we might be able to connect them to. This is just an example of some of the trainings and types of workshops that we do. So as Joe mentioned, I've spoken before about business planning and developing a business plan and the value of that for your business. We talk a lot about financing your business, finding capital, resources that might be available, certainly growth, small businesses and social media and marketing and how to expand your reach, and then things like human resources and hiring and strategic planning and succession planning are all kind of a part of our wheelhouse of trainings and workshops that we offer regularly. The business tools, connection to mentors across the board. We work within the Resource Partner Network with, hopefully this is familiar to you as well, with SCORE, who is mentors, the SBDC, Women's Business Centers. We're always trying to make as many connections as possible for business owners so that they have a lot of people they can reach out to when they need support. Access to market research and databases, talking through marketing plans, lots of business tools that are available to help grow or start a business. Our core program is Boots to Business, and I have the slide up here that says Reboot as well. The Boots to Business curriculum provides an overview of business fundamentals. So those who are interested in exploring business ownership. It's offered on military installations worldwide, and service members and their spouses can learn business ownership fundamentals in this course. It has a feasibility study that's attached to it and really tap into some of the services of the SBA. This is one of the places where the VBOC is unique, is our access to service members who are transitioning, being able to check in with people who are in that first kind of thought about what a small business ownership might mean to them, or they're interested in starting a farm or starting a ranch business, or they already have this business they're returning back to. This is a place that we can kind of plug in the beginning and talk about some of those fundamentals. The Reboot, the Boots to Business Reboot, as we call it, it delivers the same curriculum as the Boots to Business, but it's done within the community. We often host these virtually as well, but they can be on installation, off installation, in a community chamber of commerce, online, and they're really designed for veterans of any era, the National Guard, reserve members, spouses. So it's really more engaged into the community, the Reboot. So that's the brief introduction into kind of who the VBOC is. Before I start talking about how we've kind of gotten into agriculture at our VBOC, I just want to see if Jenny, is there anything I left out you wanted to add?
You did a great job, Holly. I think the only thing I'd like to add is that, Holly had spoken about how one of our primary missions is to be a connector. So, we all work within contexts that are often underfunded, understaffed. And, one of the most valuable parts of the work that we do is the collaboration and the networking that we are able to do with external partners to be able to provide provide opportunities to clients that we serve. And this is a universal mission among all of the VBOCs across the country. So I did hear introductions from folks from all over, and we welcome you after this presentation to reach out to us. We're happy to be able to make warm handoffs to our sister VBOCs across the country to make sure that the resources that you have and the resources that are contained within the VBOC is something that is shared, and really value the collaboration and the opportunity to continue to support veteran entrepreneurs through these connections. Thanks, Holly.
Thank you. Thank you for adding that. So before coming to the VBOC, I had worked in a lot of the consulting opportunities around small businesses interested in scaling and growing, specifically with creameries and dairies and ag-related businesses, consumer product goods. So this was kind of already an area in the state of Maine that I had been relatively plugged into. And when we started working together at the Veteran Business Outreach Center, we had the opportunity to meet veterans with farms all across Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Connecticut, Western Mass, who were interested in growing their business or growing their value-added product or learning more about some of the kind of core principles. So Jenny and I have been really kind of plugged into trying to reach out and make sure that we had access to as many resources as possible to be able to share and connect for all of our clients, which brought us to the Farmer Veteran Coalition, an incredible organization working to provide resources across the country. I attended their 2022 conference that was in Oklahoma, where I met a lot of people who were not familiar with the Small Business Administration and who had kind of jumped ahead in the business planning process, who had likely started their farm or started farming on land that they had, but didn't have some of the core principles or fundamentals, as we say, around business ownership. So it gave us the kind of the thought process of, can we go backwards, or can we catch people at the early stages of business development to be able to really share this information so that they have the information that they need to be successful down the road. Some of these foundational kind of entrepreneurial knowledge that we're talking about is understanding the market, understanding your customer, how to legally establish your business, building a financial model that sets you up for success, understanding your business model and how that works in this specific field. Questions that I like to think about, or like answers that I'll ask people, is why you grew the product that you did and why you're selling it for the price that you did. How did you decide that that jar of honey was going to be $10? And all of the research and kind of marketing and customer information that kind of goes into making those decisions, and how the Veterans Business Outreach Center and can support you in this process of kind of defining that. So in a wonderful conversation with the USDA's military veteran agricultural liaison, Munshi Ram Das, we started talking about what it would be like to merge our Boots to Business that we were already doing. So the Boots to Business content that talks about the core principles of and fundamentals of entrepreneurship, but knowing that that is really directed specifically kind of towards service-oriented businesses or brick and mortar businesses, and that the field of ag is completely different in how you establish your business, how you reach your customers. And so could we put this together so that we are providing some of these kind of fundamentals of business ownership, but that we were doing it with this ag lens on it that would create a real value of the content and information that was going to all of the people that are participated. So back in May, we built the Boots to Business for a reboot for veteran beginning farmers and ranchers. It was May 8th and 9th. It was our first kind of trial run to see what this would look like. And we are so fortunate to have so many incredible experts that joined us in this presentation. So not only joined us in the content, but shared their stories, shared their experience, connected, including Joe here on the call, who participated throughout the whole 2 days, helping us with the Q&A, helping to highlight resources that were not only local but national. Each module was taken on by one of these experts to be able to provide the fundamental information, but to do it through this beginning farmer and rancher lens. I'm just going to touch briefly on what the modules kind of included, just to give you a better idea of what the 2-day kind of whole process looks like. And we are preparing for our next Boots to Business, which will be October 16th and 17th, and it will be virtual as well. So our first module that we do in Boots to Business is really, the objective is to kind of provide an overview of the entrepreneurial process, what it means to be an entrepreneur. We like to connect the military skills and attributes that transfer over to entrepreneurship, and then highlight some of the veteran-owned businesses that are currently out there across the country, which this slide kind of represents here. In the second module, we start to think about opportunity recognition and the value of going kind of back towards finding the problem that needs to be solved, highlighting the need, and then how we find the opportunity from that. So we start to think through and talk about value proposition. And then we take that need and the problem that we're trying to solve, and we start to think about who precisely the customers are. How strong is the incentive for them to want to purchase the product or the service that you're offering? The objective is to really understand how to conduct market research, the importance of market research, and kind of the basics of a competitive strategy. This really all kind of ties back into module 2, where we're talking about value proposition. And in module 4, we start to get into the financial model. And this particular module was really well done by Ann Martin, who is associated with AgrAbility in the extension in Maine and operates Boots to Bushels. Put a lot of thought into how we see the financial model and how unique it is in a farm business. So the understanding the foundations for the cost, the price, the volume, the relationship, and then profit potential and sustainability. It gives a really great introduction to developing the financial module. In our 5th module, we start to talk about kind of some of the key logistical steps to starting a business. I was just talking with Matt Rudder the other day from the Victory Project, and he was saying how he had talked to somebody at one point, was saying that they had started a nonprofit, and he said to them, so you registered as a nonprofit, and was kind of going through the logistics, and they said, no, we just don't have any profit. We didn't register our business at all. And I thought that was a great story about understanding some of the actual steps to become an official business. So this module really takes you through all of those pieces around banking, accounting, filing for an LLC. It understands the various kind of legal forms, and then some of the opportunities and challenges that are associated with that. All right, and then in module 6, we start to talk about financing a business. And we're really fortunate to have Jill Thomas from the Beginning Farmer and Rancher Coordinator from the Vermont FSA. We also had an agricultural lending institution. We start to talk about how to access resources, understanding debt versus equity financing, and then what are the requirements for starting to be able to access some of this sort of capital. And then it gets all tied together in Module 7, where we start to talk about business planning and the value of putting together a business plan and going through the business model, how you're going to access capital. It really all ties together here. And we put a lot of emphasis on what all of this brings to you once you have a business plan, once you're able to explain and clearly communicate why you've chosen the path that you have and who the customers are and who the markets are and what the competition is, and helps explain why you're charging what you're charging and how you've set up your business and kind of put it all together, and then allows you to start thinking about some of the additional resources that you need, which is what we start to talk about in the final module. So we've included the USDA in that conversation. Rural development is a part of it. We talk about resources through the Small Business Administration, all of the different people that want to be available to kind of help support you in this process. So that's really the kind of the very quick version of what Boots to Business covers over the 2 days. We do modules 1 through 4 in the first day and 5 through 8 in the second day. And then lots of time for Q&A and the opportunity to talk with different farmers and ranchers that are on the call, who kind of intermittently come in between the modules as well to share their story and their experience. And I think one of the biggest pieces that we're incredibly proud of in putting this together is really the agenda. The agenda has incredible information. It has all of our speakers, all the modules, and then we include 5 pages of resources with live kind of actionable links on where you can find more information, more follow-on. I've just added a couple of slides here to show you kind of what that looks like. So this is not only available to them in the call, but as a follow-on email so that people can see what their next step is. It is our goal that people who attend this 2-day workshop leave having an idea of exactly what they want their next step to be. And if that's connecting with another program, if that's contacting their FSA office, if that's getting involved with Troops to Tractors or going through a Skill Bridge program or the Victory Project, we want to make sure that they know who they can be in touch with to get the information and the resources that they need for their next step. And a big part of that is just making sure that all of our critical partnerships are here on the call with us, that we have their information, that we're communicating that. It's our commitment is to really enhance some of the coordination of the outreach, the technical assistance, the education, and the training efforts offered by all of these incredible organizations that are serving farmer veterans and ranchers, and really be able to kind of leverage our entire network to bring it all together so that people have the opportunity to make those next calls and that next step and feel like they know what their next important fundamental piece is that they want to approach. And then this is just some of the impacts from our first presentation. So we put it together in, I would say, kind of short order from the moment that we talked about it with RAM in November and followed up in January and kind of made it a reality, and we're able to get the USDA and the SBA kind of all together behind the event. We had a lot of interest. It was a 2-day event that was held in the middle of the week on a Tuesday and Wednesday, which we know is not the most convenient time for people trying to access this information, especially if they're already active in other roles, but had 300 people that signed up, 160 that attended, people from all across the country, including military spouses, and a lot of just people who followed up with us looking for more information, looking to attend the next event. It was really kind of highlighted for us what was in need for people who were kind of in that early beginning stages, who are just trying to understand what entrepreneurship means and what does it mean to have an ag-related business, and does that make you a business owner, and what are the things I might need to consider, that we could really kind of approach all of this from this lens and be able to share this information. So our next Boots to Business for veteran beginning farmers and ranchers will be October 16th and 17th. We're hoping to have an even more exceptional lineup of speakers who want to share their stories and connect with the people who are on this call. We're looking to be able to have follow-on networking and community opportunities for all of the attendees as well, and continue to bring all of these resources together so that everyone can have access. And our real goal of being able to kind of share everything here today is to not only ask you to continue to share information about the Boots to Business, but to be able to make sure that we're sharing your resources, that we're connecting people to your programs, that people know exactly how to reach you and how to access the information, and that there's the potential to collaborate. Our goal is always to bring resources and people together. We know that that's how we can create the most successful businesses. So I can open it up to questions. I can ask Jenny, is there anything else you want to add or anything I can share?
Just that we are really happy to meet with folks. I will put Holly or our shared Calendly to be able to schedule a follow-up meeting with us, and we can make sure that we get you connected to the folks that you need, the VBOC that you need, and then also to talk about opportunities for collaboration. This Boots to Business for beginning farmers and ranchers will be occurring quarterly. So there is lots of opportunity for partnership and for being able to support the folks that you are working with and being able to access programming.
Thank you. And I will, let's see, stop sharing.
Hey, Holly, there's a question. There's a question in the chat, and I don't want to answer it wrong. It's all free, correct?
Thank you.
There's no cost for any of this.
That's such a lovely comment. Thank you. I agree that there was a really exceptional interaction at every module. People were using the Q&A, they were using the chat, they were communicating back and forth between each other, they were sharing their own information around their projects and their locations and their interests. And it was really an exceptional piece to be a part of, just that kind of community building that came from that event, and really hoping to continue to grow on that experience and kind of share. So the program is yet completely free for veterans, military spouses, transitioning service members, all of our service related entrepreneurs. Robert's question, are y'all doing anything with risk management, production, model economics, and entrance points on ag that might be a good versus a bad idea? So we do include William Ferris was one of our presenters. His background is in risk management. We talked a lot about that. I think at this level of kind of the entry point of this conversation, helping people really kind of understand the research that needs to go into why you're making the decision that you are, really putting a lot of weight into value proposition, understanding the need. I think that part kind of really helps to accentuate that piece of, is it a good or is it a bad idea? But I'd certainly love and be open to talking more kind of about this question and other ways that we can approach that, particularly in that module, because I think that there's a real opportunity to, especially with your experience and background, be able to kind of share your story. One of the things that we're going to be adding, when I was just speaking, I mentioned earlier Matt Rudder, but talking about the reality versus the images that you see. I think I should probably go back through our presentation and take out all of these beautiful images of what it looks like, and put in more of the realistic images of it pouring and it being muddy and the long days and hours, to be able to create more of that. And Deshauna, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, I was gonna write it and I just thought maybe I'd ask. So if I got this right, you know, y'all are launching this. Is the intent longer term to, if I thought I heard correctly, offer quarterly, or is the idea that you're beta testing, kind of piloting, and then maybe different VBOX or different states would pick up the curriculum module concept? Or are y'all just going to be offering it sort of what I'm assuming is nationally?
So yeah, we put it
yeah.
together to be offered, and that's a great question. So thank you for asking. I feel like that kind of connects to what Jen is asking too. You know, we put it together to address a need that we saw kind of in the moment in this conversation that we had at the Farmer Veteran Coalition Conference. And because of the response, we felt like, well, let's come back together and keep seeing what the need is and how we can respond to that. So it's our goal to offer it quarterly right now. We do start at 10 a.m. to give it to give the space to have it more of a national audience. But a lot of the partnerships that we pull in are certainly from New England as well. We did just recently present to our National Veteran Business Outreach Center kind of greater audience kind of around how we put together this industry specific boots to business. And we are incredibly happy to share the content that we have put together with all of our colleagues across the VBOX for them to be able to also kind of imagine what it could be like to present in their area. As resource connectors, we want everyone to have access to the information that they need in any way that we can. That's always really our goal. And
can I do just a quick follow-up on that while we're there? Have y'all thought about doing, or I mean, it sounds like you're willing to collaborate on all fronts, but have y'all explored doing like some regional ones just as the next step?
Yeah, I think our first thought is to consider doing something in our kind of New England region. Right now, we're maximizing the capacity that we have as our VBOC. And so doing it kind of on this virtual level in our region, but opening it up to a national audience probably kind of fits our capacity. But as Jenny and I have been exploring different opportunities to kind of grow what we've been working on, if that comes together, then we'll certainly explore kind of expanding the way that we're doing it. Did I get a good enough? Is that an answer that works?
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Makes sense. Appreciate it.
Yeah. We'd love the opportunity to see other VBOCs continue to share this content and curriculum. We'd love to see more defined resources, maybe more regional resources, and making sure that they're more inclusive. We're so grateful to Joe for sharing the resources that he's collected. I think that the AgrAbility website is one of the most comprehensive I feel like I've even come across when it comes to resources for veterans in any industry. Is really really incredible. So we've been grateful to be able to kind of continue to share that information. And as we've met people and talked with people, we've asked them to be able to add their resources in and continue to share some of these programs, especially these on-farm programs that are available so that people can get access.
Hey, Holly, this is Joe. I just, in my mind, I want to clarify, maybe I missed the words, is that when you put on a farmer boots to business, it doesn't matter where in the country that person is from for them to sign up for it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they can sign up for it anywhere. It was put on, Eastern Standard Time, but that was part of the thought process of starting a little bit later. But anyone can attend from anywhere. And that goes, that's also for our traditional boots to business. We host them virtually and give the opportunity for you to attend from wherever you might be.
Super.
And, just to support the information that Holly has provided. So it's important to note. So the Boots to Business is a curricula that was established by or was generated through a bill from the Department of Defense wanting to support transitioning service members who were interested in entrepreneurship as an opportunity post-military service. So that curricula really has no information, well, not really, does not have any information regarding farming and ranching, except in the last module that had some specific USDA contact information for anyone who was considering something associated with agriculture. So based off of a need that we observed, we took a look at this established curricula that we already facilitate on a regular basis throughout our military installations in New England, as well as virtually for folks in New England and anyone else who'd want to sign up. And have added agriculture specific experts to enhance the information that's being provided. So we are teaching folks entrepreneurship. That is our bread and butter in the work that we do. But we are using that curriculum to bring in folks who have expertise in agriculture, in farming, and in ranching to bring best practices in. So it really opens up the conversation, and it exposes all of the participants to the myriad of different farm service organizations that are out there that are tasked with helping to support the actual day-to-day work of doing farming and ranching. So we really are on the end of entrepreneurship with wanting to provide resources. So Jen, you had asked about the B2B being a 2-day versus having other days. And Boots to Business is established, the curricula has been established as a 2-day, approximately 8-hour, well, actually 10 hours total of education regarding entrepreneurship and introduction to business ownership. So we've taken that context and applied it to our Boots to Business specific farmers and ranchers with all of that information. So when we did our first one in May, we did get a sense and feedback from folks who had actually gone through the traditional Boots to Business as they were transitioning out of the military and felt really engaged in having the opportunity to hear from experts in the field to give context to how to be able to take the concepts of entrepreneurship and be able to translate those to farming and ranching. So folks were really excited about that. And Boots to Business is also designed to have all of those resources that are sent out to folks as a follow-on. And the expectation is that the local VBOC will help folks to make those connections to those farming and ranching resources in their geographic area. And folks have had the opportunity to meet those different subject matter experts through our Boots to Business farmers and ranchers. So we've settled, or we've established the foundation for the beginning of the conversation. So the only unique attendance requirement for Boots to Business is for folks to be military affiliated. So, any military affiliation definitely supports that. So, so many great questions, and I know that it's a little bit, different to approach teaching and educating folks about farming and ranching from the perspective of starting with entrepreneurship, but that has been effective and an effective best practice that we have established through this work, and are really looking forward to seeing how else we can enhance and grow that knowledge base and those connections for folks.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind, could I talk a bit about, or
Sure.
ask you a couple of things? So the reason that I asked this question about 2-day versus 5 days, that I attended the Boots to Business through Mississippi State. I was living in the state of Mississippi, and so it was the natural access point for me. They had a follow-on 2-day course called Boots to Business Revenue Readiness. And so
Yes.
the USDA version that you guys presented felt a lot to me like an additional thing. So you're saying that you're presenting the full 5-day Boots to Business course with an ag slant. Is that right? Do I understand?
So Boots to Business is the original curriculum funded by the DoD, and that is done on installations. And the reboot is the same content, but done out into the community with a larger population. And then the Boots to Business Revenue Readiness Program is a follow-on to the Boots to Business. They do require that you have taken either Boots to Business or Reboot to be able to attend the Revenue Readiness. And the Revenue Readiness is really focused on developing the business plan and your financial model. It kind of digs down even deeper into the content that Boots to Business has. And so I think, like, if you put it all together, the Boots to Business and then going through, and the Revenue Readiness Program is a multi-week program that allows you to kind of work, you know, one-on-one with business mentors. And we do include that as a follow-on resource for even this program to be able to go into revenue readiness and develop your business plan. But to circle back, we do this, we present the same content as Boots to Business, but we're doing it with ag experts who are sharing their stories and experiences. That's part of what creates that slant.
Got it. Okay, I understand. In terms of, you talked about you had like 1,000 attendees, 940 first clicks, and it filled up really quickly. So clearly, the reason that I asked this question, did you get the sense that the need was met, is there's two ways to interpret that, right? Like, oh, they wanted it, we gave it. But then the other sense, not just for you guys as VBOC, but for the USDA writ large, or for the SBA writ large, is, oh shit, there's a need out there, a much bigger need than we realized. So I'm wondering what conversations you've had, what kind of sharing you're willing to do. I mean, maybe you guys give it quarterly, but maybe it should be regional, right? Like maybe it alternates regions every quarter, and each year, every part of the country has delivered 3 sessions of it, or something like that. Are you guys in any kind of conversation about addressing this need on a national level?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jen. So our Boots to Business Farmers and Ranchers was open to folks nationally. And we had folks from all over the country who attended. Holly and I recently had the opportunity at our Veterans Business Outreach Center National Conference that gathered all of the VBOCs across the country to do a presentation to our sister VBOCs and talk about best practices based off of this. And the long-term, goal for the work that Holly and I are doing is to be able to have this done with the Boots to Business in collaboration with VBOCs across the country, that is either region specific or state specific, in order to gather the resources and the partners that are applicable to that region, to really make it a conversation that folks have, those immediate contacts, not just names of national organizations that support folks. Capacity is always an issue. All VBOCs are funded and staffed at a kind of a bare minimum level. I know everyone will appreciate that. So, Holly and I oversee 6 New England states, and we are the only staff for the VBOC of New England. So, we've made a commitment to this, recognizing what the need is. There is so much excitement from everyone that we speak to. We have applied for additional funding to increase capacity and hire an additional staff person in order to coordinate that, with the goal of, being able to have a deliverable curricula that would be able to be facilitated by folks in the long term. Recognizing that our encatchment area is New England, and while we love to engage folks nationally, we do have a network of VBOCs who are able to do that with the information and resources. So I hope that answered your question.
Can I repeat it back to you, if you don't mind, just so
Sure.
That's how I know if I understood. What I heard you say is, say at the 7-year mark, you didn't use this is my language. At the 7-year mark, you see New England VBOC at the spearhead, or kind of like the coordinating element of this effort, with a whole bunch of other people who are going to deliver the curriculum, not develop, but like maybe help develop. But you see VBOC New England as kind of the leader of the effort. Is that right? Did I get that right?
That is correct. Yes, we've taken the initiative to do that.
Got it. That's awesome. And then the last question, I'm going to mute myself, but the last question is about funding. So one of the things that I've noticed about attending training or education or whatever, especially with vets, is that you kind of got to make me do it, right? Like there needs to be funding on the other end or something like that. And so is there any effort to connect funding requirements with, or funding opportunities with attending this course?
Well, that would
We have,
be lovely.
yeah, go ahead, Holly. Go ahead.
No, I mean, that would be lovely for not only this course, but all Boots to Business. I mean, access to capital is one of the biggest barriers it comes to starting a business. And so that would certainly be something that people would, across the board, I'm surely welcome. We're really in the preliminary stages of continuing to grow this content. I just, to add, the first presentation was done with a lot of involvement from the people that we listed on the slide and from the USDA. And we're really looking forward to continuing to grow the content, but we really are kind of, I think, in these kind of preliminary stages of seeing the need, addressing it, and then figuring out who the partners are that are available to be able to help us continue to grow this. And, you know, across the board, you meet people's capacity. And so I think it'll just kind of end up coming together to see. I mean, I hope that the resources that come together and the collaboration that happens continues to grow, and that would be a really strong incentive for participation. That would be incredible. I feel like if that was something, because as Joe was talking about when he started the call, you know, connecting resources and getting everybody to understand the entire ecosystem. People are doing that state to state and struggling to understand the ecosystem that's happening just in one state alone versus a region or across the country. So if our work can continue to address that and bring more collaboration together, I feel like that would be an incredible gift to people who kind of can attend in that sort of way, or that's not the right word I want to use, but you know, something that would be a good end result.
That's awesome. You guys are crushing it.
Thanks for saying that. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Happy to stay on. I feel like we've taken up a lot of the time, Joe, that you had allotted to us. I apologize.
Oh, no, you're good. That's the intent
Okay.
of this, is really that collaboration time. So
Great.
you're good. Anybody else out there have questions for Holly or Jenny? Okay, so hey, the only other thing I'm going to add is that I did have a discussion when we scheduled this for Manshi Ramdas and Dr. Crystal Kyle to attend, and it seems to be a continuing conflict on their calendar with USDA meetings. But I think their value at these meetings are just super important. So I would ask if anybody has a conflict or or a time that they just can't do, to send me an email or a better time. I'm more than happy to adjust it so we can keep our AgrAbility partners up in Alaska. We normally schedule these, you know, AgrAbility partners in Alaska involved in these. We normally schedule these after 2 p.m. But if there is a better day of the week, please let me know. Otherwise, I may just switch it out and see how it goes. Because I think both Manshi and Crystal would provide a lot of value and kind of come to connect with us in some of the challenges we have as well. Deshauna, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so the meeting started at 10 here. I mean, we often do this. It's just like, us in Hawaii, it's absolutely fine to do earlier. So if you needed to do something earlier, like between 7:30, I've even done meetings at 7. So, and some of us up here would be fine with that. But even if you did 8 o'clock, that'd give you a couple of more hours to work with, on whatever day, if that works better. But it could be earlier, because 10 here is okay, but we could go earlier if you'd like. Okay.
Do you have any late there this time of year?
Well, we usually do. It's starting to fade. We've had a lot of rain and stuff this year, so it feels like it's been dark a lot of the summer, unfortunately. So even though the light's up, it's a bit cloudy. But yes, we do have light at the moment. But it's fading.
Super. I'm sorry to hear that. So Hey, the other thing that I would throw out there is AgrAbility did a great thing this year, and we had our first real veteran outreach event out here in Indiana, and that was not specific to Indiana. AgrAbility and part of their grant, excuse me, has a requirement to have regional events. We are booked up until after March when we have the national training workshop. And again, feel free to send me ideas on the national training workshop as well. But if you would like to host a veteran regional workshop, let me know, and I'd be more than happy to coordinate or see if AgrAbility would take that on. So just let me know if you're interested in a another one. I think maybe Dr. Field's idea is we do more veteran specific ones. Although I'll tell you the challenge for the one we had in June, and thank you again, Holly, for coming to it. It's the work week, and they normally do it with the work week and focused on AgrAbility staff, but I think there is a lot of value in doing it at other times. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. So I will leave the mic open for another couple of minutes. If anybody had comments or concerns or anything they just wanted to shout out for the group, feel free. Just raise your hand and I'll call on you until time is up.
Not to selfishly just jump in, but since we're still here, for the new program for the VBOC in Alaska, I guess I can just check with the two of you on some of those details. I've heard some things, but I wasn't exactly sure. I think I know who the contact is, but just wanted to verify. Should I just check with you offline?
Yeah, I will put in the link for the Small Business Administration, and it will have the updated contact information for the VBOC. But if you'd like a personal or an email invitation, very, very happy to do a warm handoff as well.
Okay. I was looking at the website, but yeah, I wasn't able to. Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks. Cool.
All right, nothing heard. Thank you again, Jenny and Holly, for joining us today. And we hope to continue on with the collaboration. Holly, and you're still on the distro list for anytime you want to come to a community of interest. And Jenny, if you'd like to be there, just let me know and we'll add you to the distribution list. And thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We really appreciate the opportunity to share and to be in touch with so many people. So thank you.